Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Onaverse. Hi! If you were paying attention last episode, and it's okay if you were not, I said that I was going to do a bonus episode, but I'm trying to be a little bit strategic, so I'm going to save that because I feel like, first off, it's probably not that interesting to a lot of you right now. So I'm going to save it for later. And for now, we're just going to get into a little bit of what I wanted to talk about today. So first off, I'm going to say happy early birthday to me. By the time that you hear this, it'll be my birthday, February 3rd. And shout out to all the Capricorns in sidereal astrology and all the Aquarians in tropical astrology. Happy birthday. I hope you guys have a good season. It's really fun. I feel like things are changing a lot for the better. And I feel like we're all just moving forward. Like all the seeds that were planted in 2020, I feel like now we're all just kind of like watching the seedlings like sprout for the first time. And that's a really good feeling because it can be really scary when you're putting stuff in the dirt. You know, you're planting seeds and it's dark down there. You can't see what's happening under the ground. You can't see if your hard work is actually going to turn into something. So it's really nice to have this moment where you can just kind of see the little sprouts coming from the ground. It's finally like that, oh, this is actually finally starting. Like, wow, like I'm finally getting a little bit of, feedback. I'm finally figuring out that, okay, this is, the right thing that I should be doing. Or if something isn't showing up that you planted, you have the tools and the knowledge and the experience now to be like, okay, that didn't work. How can we make this work? So shout out to all of you guys going through this season. Shout out to all the people who aren't Capricorns or Aquarians who are still going through this process because it's a hard time. It's a really hard time to go through because you don't know what's going to happen regardless of anything. You never know what's going to happen. So it's really difficult to kind of put your passions out there and your goals, and you don't really know if it's going to pay off. So shout out to you guys for taking a leap of faith and just going for something. Like, shout out for real, because it's really hard. It's really hard to just like put yourself out there. So good job. I would clap for you guys, but clap for yourselves. Give you like 5 seconds. Okay, that wasn't 5 seconds, but that was long enough for you to clap for yourselves. Awesome. Okay. Today, I wanted to talk about letting go. And I know I've probably talked about this before, but this episode, I want to talk about how good it feels to finally be able to completely let something or someone go. Because a lot of times when we're first letting something go, it can feel as though like the world is ending. You can be like, I don't know what I'm going to do without this in my life. I don't know how my life is going to be. I can't picture my future. I don't know how my daily life is going to be. I just have to take it day by day. And you may feel sad, you may feel frustrated, you may feel hopeless, you may feel hurt, you may feel depressed, you may feel tired, you may feel stressed out, overwhelmed. Like, it's a lot. You may even feel apathetic, like you may not feel intense emotions at all. You're just numb. And it's okay to be in that point in your life, in your emotions, because from these dark times comes light. Just like when you plant your seeds in the dirt and you can't see that things are happening up under there. You can't see all the time the things that are happening when you're in your dark moments. But I fully believe that your dark moments are strengthening you. They are teaching you something. So it's really important to not let yourself get sucked in and to let yourself feel those emotions and observe your thoughts. Question why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, and then acknowledge the reason behind that. And then acknowledge the reason behind that reason. And a lot of people don't want to do this because I get it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of introspection. But even if you don't consciously say like, oh, I'm going to analyze my depression right now, it will ultimately get better. And I don't mean like chronic depression or major depressive disorder. I mean like situational depression. And even with major depressive disorder, eventually you're going to go to a time where you may not be super happy or ecstatic, but you're going to feel pretty okay. And then those moments are the moments where you can really try to move forward as best as you can. But when you are in the middle of letting something go, whether it's a love, whether it's a job, whether it's plans that you had where you're like, this is no longer going to work out, whether it's a goal that you had where you're like, I'm going to have to push this back or forget about it right now, it's okay to let it go. It may feel sad, but once you have accepted that that is no longer your reality, you feel so free. And it's an amazing freeness. And I just want so many people to experience the freeness of just letting go of what is not serving you anymore. And it's not easy. I'm not saying to do it because it's easy. It's a process. It's very difficult. Sometimes it can take you years, which is frustrating, but it's okay. Because eventually you're going to get to that point where you've learned what you needed to learn during that letting go process. And without even realizing it, one day you're just going to be like, wow, like, I feel great. This is a point in my life where I've put in the work and I'm able to enjoy it. I'm finally able to see it. I'm finally able to touch it, feel it, taste it. I had to pause the recording because my dad brought me some sauce. If you're not from the South and you don't know what sauce is, it's delicious. So I got that. But like getting to the point where you are finally able to see the progress that you've been making is great. And so you just kind of have to stick through it. It's tough. It's really hard to be in a place where you're not sure if the future is going to be the way that you want it to. But honestly, you can ease your pain by remembering what I said before, which is the future is never going to be what you imagine it to be. What you think is going to happen is most of the time never going to happen. Or at least not exactly the way that you want it to happen or pictured it happening. So that's okay. It's okay if the future doesn't look the way that you want it to. It's not going to anyway. So just enjoy the moment. Be present in the moment, because regardless of whether you see the progress or not, it's happening as long as you just keep moving forward. Another thing that I wanted to talk about that sort of has to do with the progression of things is if you're feeling confused about something or someone, don't be afraid to let it go. Don't be afraid to be like, you know what? I'm not sure if this is right for me, so I'm going to let it go. Because most of the time when you do that, you will be helping yourself so much because you're not leaving yourself stuck in a situation where you can't grow because you're too confused to grow. The same if you're dealing with someone else. Let's say they're confused. They don't know if they want to be with you. They don't know if they want to hire you. They don't know if they want to work with you. They don't know if you're up to the task. They don't know if they want to invite you or whatever. If they're not sure about you and they're confused about you, it's okay to walk away. And I wish that I had known this because there's been a lot of time that I wasted. And I say wasted because it's not that I didn't learn from that time, but I could have learned the lessons that I learned way before if I had just let go when that person showed me that they were not sure about me. And instead of dragging it out, I could have gotten to that conclusion and then moved forward from there. But instead, we tend to drag it out because we wait for the confusion to pass. We try to be like, oh, well, maybe if I give it a day or two, I won't be confused anymore. Oh, what if this happens? Then I won't be confused anymore. What if I do this or talk to this person? Maybe I'll be less confused. No. If it's there for a reason. And you shouldn't ignore it. And they shouldn't ignore it. And you shouldn't ignore that they are feeling confused. So if someone isn't sure about you, like let's say you're in a relationship and they're not sure if they want to be with you or not, or they're not sure if you're for them or they're for you, say okay and get ready to let go. Going back to earlier, you let go, you never know what's been growing in that dirt that'll come up. You never know. And it's okay to be scared, because socialization is like the core of human nature. Like, we need people, we need to interact, we need loving exchanges. We need that. As a tropical Aquarius, whatever, I have a tendency to sort of dissociate from people and just not engage. And only recently have I really accepted that, okay, we need people and we need relationships. We need family relationships. We need close friends. We need an exchange of love and communication in our lives in order to function at our best level. And I used to not do that. I didn't like talking to people. I didn't like the idea of having people around me, like having to need that. I didn't like that. I would have wanted to go in the woods and stay by myself for the rest of my life and just be miserable, to avoid, the confusion that people can bring to you, to avoid the sadness that people can bring to you, to avoid the loneliness that people can bring to you. Because even though you're around people, they can still make you feel lonely as fuck. And it took a lot. Like, it took a very dark time, a very dark period of time, to finally realize that I need these people. I love these people. I value relationships. I value friendships. I value family. Like, it took a lot for me to realize that. And it also took me being exposed to people who thought like that for me to realize that and accept that. Because otherwise, I would have just been in denial. And I still would have been like, oh, I don't need to feel close to people. I don't need this. I don't need that. And I just would have been miserable. And when I started accepting that, friendships, relationships, they are necessary, I really started to fully grow as a person. So this is going to be a shorter episode because I really just wanted to get on here and just tell you to just let go. Don't be afraid of the future. Don't be afraid of what you don't know. And just acknowledge that you've been making progress even if you don't realize it. Just before we go, I'll tell you a little story about myself. Okay. So, I am one of those people that I can't really work a regular 9-to-5 job. Never have. Never liked it. Failed at it every single time. I would either be super late, miss my shifts, always wanted to leave early because I'm like, no. Or I would have anxiety attacks, panic attacks. Like, even if I loved my job, it was just having to stay there for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. I could voluntarily do it. I loved voluntary overtime. I loved it. I'm great with that. I will volunteer all of my hours. Don't schedule me. I will come in when I want to work. That is how I thrive. But of course, that's not how most organizations are. So I felt bad for a while. And then I started to get into freelancing. And that was good, but then I also realized that I lacked a lot of discipline. And it was really hard to make myself work consistently. And so I ended up taking a job where I could be a lot more free, and my client was more lenient with the due dates. And so, I had my freedom, but I also was not getting paid that much at all. But because I had that freedom, I just lived with it because I was like, I don't want to take on more right now. I can't take on more right now because that would stress me out. I wouldn't be able to handle it. So that was 2.5 years ago. And since then, I haven't noticed it, but I have been making progress to the point where I can now take an official job. And I have found an official job, and it's a job where I can volunteer my hours. I pick when I want to work as much as I want, work as little as I want, whatever. I get paid great. And the reason why I am able to take on this responsibility and know that I'm going to do amazing at it is because of all the years of struggling with this small client and making these slow progression. It went from I wasn't able to start work early in the morning because I would sleep in to I'm waking up at 8 in the morning every morning except for the weekends, getting my workout in, eating breakfast, and doing my work. There's a few days, a month where I kind of slip, and that's, just whatever. But in general, like, I've gotten so much better at time management. I've gotten so much better at keeping track of what's due. I've gotten so much better at tracking my pay. I've gotten better at saving. I've gotten better at so many things, communicating. I'm less anxious. It was an entire progression from the very moment I started to try to be my own boss to now, where I can actually be my own boss and be like really into it and be really proud and really make money. And it's a real thing. Like, it's not like a little freelancing thing. This is an official thing. It took a long time and it took a lot. It was a lot of chance. It was a lot of the universe putting it out there. I swear to you, because if not for me remaining open to this energy, if not for me taking chances, if not for me moving forward, if not for me valuing those relationships that I have with people, I would not have been able to find this opportunity, let alone apply for it and get it. So just remember that, like, regardless of what you think you see, regardless of what you think you see, regardless of what you think you know, regardless of what you think is going on inside you, you are making so much more progress than you could ever fucking imagine. You are doing so much more than you ever thought possible, and you don't even fucking know it. Isn't that crazy? You don't know all that's going on inside of you right now to make you 50 times better than you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. It don't fucking matter. 2 minutes ago. Because you can change from minute to minute. And it's amazing. So just remember, like, let go. You don't have to hold on to things that don't serve you anymore. You don't have to hold on to things that confuse you, that make you unhappy, that make you anxious, that make you scared, that make you unsure of yourself, insecure. You don't have to hold on to that stuff. You can let it go. And it may take some time to fully, like, truly let it go and get to the point where you feel comfortable. But you're going to get there. You are. You really, truly are. And it's going to feel amazing. And you're going to be able to handle so much more than you ever thought you could before, because you've been making progress all this time. And that's beautiful. So I'm going to leave you guys right now with that. I love you. I hope you have an amazing, wonderful day and week. And I will see you guys later and talk to you later. Okay, I love you guys. Mwah. You are now leaving the Onaverse.